Today we are going to talk about a whole new monk build that I started to use for PvP. With this build we have unlimited controllability because we are using Deadly Reach as our primary attack skill, which is quite unusual. Most of the monks use Fists of Thunder since the release of the game, but Deadly Reach is pretty good, and we are going to use it in our new PvP build. By the way, don't expect a crazy amount of kill numbers at the end of the games, but your impact on the matches you participate in is going to be undeniable. So let's talk about the skills we have first, and after that we are going to talk about all of the details of this setup. As always, we have Shield of Zen, and we are not using any essences with it, just a plain Shield of Zen. After that we have Seven-Sided Strike with the main hand essence that boosts our primary attacks, which is quite important because our main damage source is our primary attacks. Next we have Inner Sanctuary, and I'm using 3 essences with this one. First one is the New Head essence that gives us and our allies critical hit chance. It gives you 25% critical hit chance when no one is around, and it goes up to 40% when 3 other teammates are around you. After that we have the Offhand essence that increases the duration of Inner Sanctuary. And lastly I'm using the Chest essence that grants immunity to knockbacks, which is very important in my opinion because there are a bunch of Blood Knights and Necromancers running around. So this essence makes it little safer to play around for us. Lastly, I'm using Mystic Strike with 3 different essences. First one is the Legs essence called Branding Bond, which deals damage to the enemies you pass through, and it has a pretty high damage output. After that, I have the Shoulders essence that increases my primary attack speed by 30% after I use Mystic Strike. And finally, I have the Offhand essence that makes me invisible for 3 seconds after I use Mystic Strike. Well, for the primary attack, I'm using Deadly Reach with 1 main hand essence, as I said earlier. This main hand essence turns Deadly Reach into a knock-up machine, and it deals a really good damage as well. We are going to go over all of the essences once again in a minute, so now let's check out our set items. With the introduction of bracelet pieces, we have more options to use for set items, and I'll talk about 2 possible combinations. First one is 4 pieces of Vithus Urge and 4 pieces of Mountebanks. 4 pieces of Vithus Urge is a must-have because we need that attack speed buff from 4-piece effect and beneficial effect duration increase from 2-piece effect. You can't play without 4 pieces of Vithus with this build. For the other 4, you can use 4 pieces of Shalbas to increase your primary attack speed even more, or 2 pieces of Shalbas and 2 pieces of Mountbank can be an option as well. Now, let's go over our legendary items once again. For the headpiece, we are using Roving Sanctuary. Inner Sanctuary now moves with you, increasing your critical hit chance and that of your allies. Every nearby ally increases critical hit chance further. For the chest, we have Chimes at Midnight. Inner Sanctuary now also grants immunity to knockbacks to allies within the area. For the shoulders, we are using Feline Defiance. Mystic Strike now also increases your primary attack speed by 30% for 6.4 seconds. For the pants, we have Branding Bond. Mystic Strike now causes you to move quickly in a direction, damaging all enemies in your path. For the main hand, I'm using a Peerless Conductor. The 3rd strike of Deadly Reach now knocks enemies up into the air, dealing 53,000 damage. For the offhand, we have Reticent Wind. Mystic Strike causes you to become invisible for 3 seconds. For the additional main hand, we have Tenebrous Grasp. 7-sided Strike now causes your primary attacks to conjure a spirit ally to unleash a powerful strike on your target, damaging any enemies within its path. And lastly, for the additional offhand, I have Respite's Sigh. Inner Sanctuary duration increased by 39%. Well, that's the whole build. Since this is a primary attack-based build, any Reforge bonuses that buffs your primary attack damage and your attack speed in general will improve the build. So, your ideal Reforge bonuses for this build can be attack speed increase, damage to players increase, damage to enemies, suffering loss of control increase, duration of beneficial effects increase, and primary attack damage increase. By the way, thanks a lot to Arden for sharing his build with me. He is a friend of mine, and he is using similar builds to this with his monk all the time, and he is having a good amount of success with his 3000 resonance account. Other than that, I'm using Gladiator Paragon 3 with this build, and for the point distribution, try to max out your damage, armor penetration, and life. Well, and I think that's all I can say about this build. After you try it, let me know how it performs for you and mention your resonance as well so we can have a better understanding if this build works for everyone or not. Now, I will leave you guys with some PvP gameplay. Enjoy!